Good afternoon. Thank you for attending today's media conference. I am Sergeant Sophie Bachmeyer, and this is Inspector Ashley St. Germaine of the Saskatchewan RCMP Major Crime Branch. She will be providing the updates for you today, and I will be providing the information in French. Following her statement, we'll take questions from our news partners. Thank you for reserving them until the question and answer period. Bonjour, je vous remercie de participer à la conférence de presse aujourd'hui. Je suis le sergent Sophie Bachmeyer et voici l'inspecteur Ashley St. Germaine de la sous-direction des crimes majeurs de la GRC de la Saskatchewan. Elle vous fournira une mise à jour aujourd'hui et je vous fournirai l'information en français. Après nos déclarations, nous répondrons aux questions de nos partenaires médiatiques. Merci de les réserver jusqu'à la période de questions et de réponses. L'inspecteur St. Germaine va commencer. Inspector St. Germaine will begin.
Good afternoon. This morning at approximately 4:30 a.m., Saskatchewan RCMP executed a search warrant in Richmound, Saskatchewan. It was a privately owned, decommissioned school inhabited by a group of individuals. The search warrant was obtained after we received a report of an individual occupying the building was in possession of a firearm. That report was received on August 25th, 2025. After receiving this report, Saskatchewan RCMP began an extensive investigation. This included careful monitoring of any risk to public safety and to the community of Richmound. A team of skilled and experienced senior officers was established to oversee this large and complex operation. This response was made up of RCMP officers from throughout the province, including our critical incident response team, tactical support group, containment team, police dog services, provincial general investigation section, remotely piloted aircraft system, and detachment members. We also had assistance from Regina Police Services SWAT program. There were more than 30 police vehicles along with 2 tactical vehicles at the scene. The safety of the public and our officers is the top priority in any situation. We carefully examined the components of the property prior to the execution of the search warrant. This maximized the likelihood of a quick, smooth, and safe operation. There were approximately 8 RVs parked on the property. A team of officers cleared the RVs, while another team methodically cleared the building from one side to the other. Officers arrested 17 individuals. 10 were arrested inside the building, 6 were arrested in the RVs, and 1 was arrested outside a residence in Richmound. The buildings were cleared and all individuals were arrested by 6 a.m. The next phase of the investigation is now in its early stages. Investigators are still in the process of searching the building, collecting evidence, and interviewing those arrested. At this time, no charges have been laid. As of the last update from investigators, which was received at 11:30 this morning, we have located and seized 4 replica handguns, 1 inside the building and 3 inside vehicles. While clearing the property, officers observed modifications that had been made to the existing structure. We notified fire investigators with the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency, who are now engaged in their own investigation. We understand that there's a lot of interest in this investigation and the next steps. The Saskatchewan RCMP is committed to transparency. We will provide more information as we're able, while being mindful of the investigational integrity and privacy responsibilities. I think what's important to highlight today is the excellent work done by our investigative team. Their dedication, attention to detail, and professionalism allowed this operation to unfold without injury or risk to public safety. This operation was incredibly complex and robust. We drew on the RCMP and partner resources from across the province to successfully execute this search warrant. Throughout the investigation, the safety of the public and the residents of Richmound has been the highest priority and was constantly considered. Finally, I thank the residents of Richmound for their ongoing patience as this investigation continues to unfold.
Bon après-midi. Ce matin, vers 4h30, la GRC de la Saskatchewan a exécuté un mandat de perquisition à Richmound, en Saskatchewan, dans une école abandonnée privée qui était habitée par un groupe de personnes. Le mandat de perquisition a été obtenu lorsque nous avons reçu une information voulant qu'une personne occupant l'édifice était en possession d'une arme à feu. La GRC de la Saskatchewan a reçu ces informations le 25 août, puis a entrepris une enquête approfondie. Entre autres, nous avons surveillé tout risque de la sécurité publique et à la communauté de Richmound. Une équipe formée de policiers qualifiés et expérimentés a été mise sur pied pour superviser cette opération importante et complexe. L'équipe comptait des policiers de la GRC de partout en Saskatchewan, dont l'équipe d'intervention en cas d'incident critique, le groupe tactique de soutien, l'équipe d'endiguement, le service cynophile, la section provinciale des enquêtes générales, le système aéronef télépiloté et des membres de détachement. Nous avons aussi pu compter sur le programme d'armes spéciales et tactiques, ou SWAT, du service de police de la Région. En tout, plus de 30 véhicules de police et 2 véhicules tactiques ont été déployés sur les lieux. Comme toute situation, la sécurité du public et de nos policiers est notre priorité. Nous avons soigneusement étudié l'édifice et toutes ses composantes avant l'exécution du mandat afin de maximiser les chances d'avoir une opération policière rapide, fluide et sécuritaire. Il y avait environ 8 véhicules récréatifs sur la propriété. Une équipe de policiers était chargée de vérifier ces véhicules, tandis qu'une autre s'occupait de vérifier l'édifice d'un bout à l'autre. Les policiers ont arrêté 17 personnes, soit 10 personnes à l'intérieur de l'édifice, 6 dans les véhicules récréatifs et une personne à l'extérieur d'une résidence de Richmound. Les policiers ont terminé la vérification de toutes les structures avant 6 heures ce matin. La prochaine phase de l'enquête est maintenant à ses débuts. Les enquêteurs sont en train de fouiller l'édifice, de recueillir les pièces à conviction et d'interviewer les personnes arrêtées. Pour le moment, aucune accusation a été portée. Aux dernières nouvelles des enquêteurs à 11h30, ils avaient trouvé et saisi 4 répliques d'une arme de poing, soit une à l'intérieur de l'édifice et 3 dans des véhicules. Pendant leur vérification, les policiers ont constaté que la structure actuelle avait été modifiée. L'organisme de sécurité publique de la Saskatchewan a été avisé et fera ses propres enquêtes. Nous comprenons qu'il y a beaucoup d'intérêt envers cette enquête et les prochaines étapes. La GRC de la Saskatchewan a la transparence à cœur. De plus amples renseignements vous seront transmis en temps et lieu dans un souci de protéger l'intégrité de notre enquête et de nos responsabilités en matière de protection des renseignements personnels. Je crois qu'il est important de souligner aujourd'hui le travail exceptionnel de nos équipes d'enquête. Leur dévouement, leur minutie et leur professionnalisme ont été la clé d'une opération policière sans blessure ou risque à la sécurité publique. Cette opération était incroyablement complexe et robuste. Nous avons dû faire appel à nos ressources internes et à nos partenaires de partout dans la province pour exécuter un mandat de perquisition avec succès. Tout au long de l'enquête, la sécurité du public et des résidents de Richmound était une priorité et au cœur de nos décisions. Finalement, je tiens à remercier les résidents de Richmound pour leur patience continue pendant que l'enquête se poursuit. We will now take questions from our news partner. Please begin with 2 questions per agencies. Should you have questions in French, Inspector St. Germaine will answer in English, and I will repeat her answer in French. Please approach the microphone one at a time to ask questions. Nous allons maintenant répondre aux questions de nos partenaires de presse. Veuillez commencer par 2 questions par agence de presse. Si vous avez des questions en français, l'inspecteur St. Germaine répondra en anglais et je répéterai la réponse en français. Veuillez vous approcher du micro, un par un, pour poser vos questions. Commençons. Let's begin.
Alexander Kwan with CBC News. Can you explain the large response? Having report of one firearm at the building, why was it necessary to deploy so many officers and so many different resources?
Right, so the investigation was initiated with the report of one firearm. As I mentioned, that investigation commenced on August 25th. Throughout the course of the investigation, further evidence was gathered in order to meet the threshold of gathering a search warrant to enter the property and execute it. And with that, risk assessment is done. There's a lot of unknowns that we face day to day in our job, and when a firearm is present, we do have to consider that the potential that more exist. And there's an ongoing risk assessment that is done by a lot of our experienced senior officers in order to make sure that we are considering public safety along with police safety when executing any search warrant.
How many people remain in custody at this time? I know you said charges haven't been laid, but are they all in custody at this time?
Right, so at this time, my last conversation with the investigators is all 17 are still in custody. We do have a definitive amount of time that we have to deal with each of these individuals. And so that will take place, and we'll respect the law with regards to the timing of that. They are all in custody, and at some point they will either be charged and or released.
Hi. Are you able to confirm that Romana Didulo was one of those who was arrested?
So what I can say is that one of the individuals that was inside the building identified herself as Romana Didulo, which was, as I understand, live streamed as it happened. So she presented herself and identified herself as that and released it to the public. So I can confirm that she is in custody. But beyond that, I can't identify anybody else.
Okay. And you said that there were replica handguns that were seized. Are we talking like cap guns, airsoft guns?
So at this point in time, the information I have is 4 replica handguns. With respect to what those are specifically, that'll go on as all the evidence is being seized, and it'll get processed, and what they are specifically will be provided at a later date. I don't have that information right now.
Okay.
Hello, Jeremy Symes with the Canadian Press. Just to clarify, is this Kingdom of Canada group that these people belong to that RCMP arrested?
So I can't speak to who all of the individuals are and if they're all associated to the Kingdom of Canada, but Romana Didulo has identified herself as the leader of that group. So I expect that some of those people are associated to the Kingdom of Canada, but I don't have confirmation at this point on those details.
And did officers see any children at all in this school?
So at this point, I don't have any information that there's any children at the property.
Anybody else?
Switch mic off when she's answering.
Just
Oh.
so that we don't hear you guys while she's talking.
Oh, okay. John Cairns from Sask today. I guess a lot of people out there are probably wondering why now, because the events in Richmound have been going on for some time. I guess why the arrest now? Was it, I guess, triggered by the firearm discovery, or is that basically what happened here? Or maybe you could explain kind of the whole process.
Right, so what I can say is the report about the firearm was received on August 25th, and you're correct, there's been other investigations into the Kingdom of Canada and activities in that area. At this point in time, we were able to gather enough evidence to meet the threshold of gathering a search warrant to enter the property to execute it. And through the course of any of our investigations, before we take any action, we have to make sure that we do meet the thresholds that the courts will be satisfied that we can enter into private property. So that's essentially what happened here. Is the investigation report was received, investigation unfolded, and got to the point that we had enough grounds to be able to get a Section 487 search warrant to enter the property to execute.
Yeah, and just to follow up about we know that no charges have been laid. What kind of a timeline are we looking at to determine when charges are going to be laid? When can we expect to hear about those?
So I'll answer that kind of 2 parts. The first part is with respect to arrest. So they've been arrested, and legally we have 24 hours to either lay a charge, have a person before the courts, or release them. If we release individuals without charges, that doesn't mean that they may not be charged down the road. What that means is we potentially don't have enough evidence to charge them right now, but we can gather enough evidence to charge them down the road if that's appropriate in that case. So if people are released today or tomorrow without charges, that doesn't necessarily equate to no charges will ever be laid.
Jason from CTV News. A town meeting 2 years ago said that officers were surveilling or monitoring the situation. Did this complaint come from that surveillance, or was it from the member of the public?
I can't speak to the specifics of how this particular complaint came in. There is the investigational integrity that I have to respect in that court process. What I can say is that we received a report of this firearm on August 25th, and that is the reason why we were able to enter the property today with the warrant.
And you mentioned some external resources that came in. Can you, including SWAT from RPS, can you mention about the total number of officers responded? Were there assets from Alberta or anywhere else?
So at this point, the information that I have is that there were 30 police vehicles on scene along with 2 tactical vehicles. I can't speak to the total number of officers that were on scene, but we did have our partners from Regina's Police Service assist us. I don't believe there was any out-of-province employees assisting us, but we did have RCMP members from across the province in various programs that were assisting with this operation today.
I guess you said that this was just about the complaint about the firearm. Obviously, there have been 2 years of other complaints of those things. Are there still investigations ongoing in those other situations in Richmound to do with this group, or are those done with?
So what I can say is that really an investigation is never truly done with. If there may become a point in time where we don't have enough evidence to lay a charge, that doesn't necessarily equate to the file is completely concluded. We may come back to find evidence once other things potentially happen. We have a search warrant here, so if we do find evidence that other offenses have been committed, whether it was a year ago or 2 years ago, we still have the ability to lay charges with respect to that now.
And does the RCMP still have that temporary detachment in Richmound?
I am not aware of there being a temporary detachment there at this point in time, but I can't specifically answer that question with any confirmation.
Sorry, Brandon Harder with Leader Post. I'm just wondering, was there anything, were there any items, personal property seized as a result of this search warrant execution?
So there were the 4 replica handguns that were seized initially when the scene was cleared, which is the term we use. The search warrant itself being executed is going to take quite some time in order to complete, just given the size and scope of the property there. So I don't have specifics on what else has been seized at this point in time, but when we are able to, if we are able to release that information, we can provide an update at that point. I suspect it'll take some time to get there, though.
Yeah, Jeremy here, Canadian Press. I'm just wondering about these replica handguns. Can you just describe what they are? Are they capable of firing bullets?
Again, I can't answer that question right now. The replica firearms were seized early this morning, and any of those particular questions will have to be done with investigation with our firearms experts in order to determine, and that's going to take some time.
And I'm just wondering about the school itself. Is RCMP doing anything, or what's being done to prevent the school from being occupied again?
So we're not really in the business of preventing people from occupying specific places specifically. However, in this particular case, we did notify Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency, and the fire investigators are doing a parallel investigation at that point in time. So whether the school is deemed to be habitable or not isn't a decision that the RCMP can make.
I just wanted to ask, are anyone who's been arrested, are they barred from returning to that building at this time, or is that not something the RCMP has a role in?
So the RCMP, once charges are laid, an individual goes to court, depending upon how they're released. The RCMP could potentially put conditions on people not to go back. However, no charges have been laid, and those conditions cannot be laid unless somebody is under a court process.
Jason from CTV. You mentioned that there was quite a presence, 30 vehicles. Can you characterize if there's any resistance, or was there any like gunfire across, or was it entirely peaceful, the surrender of the people you have in custody?
Right. My understanding from speaking with the people on scene, they were able to execute the search warrant with no issues from the people that were there. That is subject to change, but there's no reports at this point in time of gunfire being exchanged between either the people on the property or ourselves.
And excuse me if you covered before, but can you characterize the number in custody right now?
Yeah, so there are 17 adults in custody at this point in time.
We'll do one more question.
Yeah, Brandon Harder from Leader Post here. You may have covered this, but I guess when it comes to the interviews, is there a particular unit of the RCMP that's conducting these interviews? And what unit is it?
Yeah, sure. No, that's a good question. So the investigational carriage is held by Regina Provincial General Investigation Section, and that is a unit that falls under the Saskatchewan Major Crimes Branch. So they are coordinating and leading this investigation, and any investigative tasks that need to be completed will be done by them or directed to be done by them.
So that concludes today's event. Thank you everyone for coming today. Thank you. L'événement d'aujourd'hui est terminé. Merci à tous d'être venus aujourd'hui. Je vous remercie de votre présence.